Stadium in Kansas City, and the Redskins are in town. This magnificent complex, part of the Harry S. Truman Sports Complex, which also includes a baseball stadium nearby, the home of the Royals. Pat Summerall here with John Madden. And John, it would appear to be a case of who can run the ball more successfully.
You know, when you think about the Kansas City Chiefs and the Washington Redskins, you think about the running game. And you talk to both coaches, Marty Schottenheimer and Joe Gibbs, and they say two things. To win this game, we have to be able to run, and we have to be able to stop the run. Because when you can run, then you can do all three things. You can run, and you can play pass off the run and drop back pass and control the rush. If you can't run the ball, it's going to be a long day for either team.
Of course, the Redskins have a very, very, well, physically their offensive line has just about been taken apart by injury. They have suffered through as much, I think, as anyone.
Yeah, they probably have. In fact, it seems like there's a run of offensive linemen being injured this year in the whole National Football League. We talk about it with Detroit last week, with the Washington Redskins this week, but they're still the defending champions. And there's something about a championship team that when they get in a big game or an important game, they know how to play.
Lowry will kick off. This too could turn out to be a battle of kickers, and we have two of the best. Lowry's kick will be handled by Brian Mitchell at about the 8. And Mitchell is hit at about the 21 by Tracy Rogers. Mark Rippon, maligned perhaps in the nation's capital, but maybe not deserving. Ed Simmons, Ray Brown, Raleigh McKenzie, Mark Schlereth, Joe Jacoby starting at right tackle. Donnie Warren, the tight end. Ernest Biner, the lone runner, usually. Ricky Sanders, Gary Clark, and Art Monk in front of him, the posse. There's the book on Rippon. They open instead with three tight ends. Sanders split wide to the right. Reverse coming. A fake reverse to Gary Clark. Biner kept the ball after the fake and the penalty marker down. On defense, Griffin, Saliamua, Phillips, and Smith up front. Derek Thomas, Simeon, and Martin, the linebackers. And the Kansas City secondary, Carter and Ross, the corners. Mincy and Bayless, the two safeties. 1st and 20. Penalty against the Redskins.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that the Redskins wanted to be able to run the ball, Pat, is to stay out of long yardage situations. And of course, not being able to gain yardage can put you in a long yardage situation. And the other thing that we just saw here, penalties can also put you in these situations.
So it's 1st and 20. Rippon semi-roll chased by Derek Thomas from one side and Smith from the other side. And that's his way of celebrating.
Yeah, that's his baseball swing. But that's what you call bookends. You're going to see Neil Smith is going to come from this side, and you're going to see Derek Thomas coming from the other side. So Smith has come up, boom, he's right there, and watch Derek Thomas come from the other side. Watch the speed with which Thomas comes around that corner. They're trying to double team him. He is so quick and so fast that not only do they not double team him with Ed Simmons and Ernest Biner, they completely miss him.
And just about the same thing happened on the other side to Smith, as he and Thomas got the sack and a flag on the play. Back in the secondary.
Game offense.
Against the Redskins, they can't penalize them very far, and I'm not sure why.
Delay a game it was, Pat. They took too long. And you know, you take dominating players, and I think we're seeing them here starting the game with Derek Thomas and with Neil Smith. And, you know, they're doubling, they're breaking doubles, they're doing everything and just throwing the Redskins out of sync.
This so far has been the retreat offense. 3-yard pickup by Rippon, just straight ahead, while he waits for things perhaps to get settled down just a little bit. This whole Washington appearance on offense has been out of sync.
Well, of course, it started off with a penalty, so that threw him back 10 yards. And then the next play, then they tried to block Smith and Derek Thomas, the two pressure guys, and they didn't, so they got the sack, and they almost got a safety down there.
Rippon got him a little bit of room with a quarterback sneak. This is Biner. Behind Simmons, he gets a little bit more room out near the 10. 6-yard pickup by Biner. Derek Thomas and Martin Bayless, the two tacklers, and ex-Kansas City Chief punter for the Redskins now. Kelly Goodburn comes on. Dale Carter will be back deep for Kansas City.
We're going to see an example here of how good defense can get you good field position.
Carter standing in Redskin territory, shading his eyes, looking right into that bright, bright sun. The Chiefs came after it. Goodburn got a good kick out of there. Carter signaled fair catch. Goodburn chased him backwards. 51-yard punt. That is the first encouraging note the Redskins have had, a 51-yard punt. Now let's look at the Kansas City offense. Dave Craig, the quarterback, ex-Seattle Seahawk. In his 13th year up front, it's Alt, Zott, Grunhart, Lutz, Baldinger, and Jonathan Hayes opening at tight end. Christian Okoye, Todd McNair. The two running backs, usually there are only one back there. Jones and Barnett start at wide receiver. It is Okoye deep behind Craig. Jones goes in motion. Okoye straight ahead, hit in the backfield. Eric Williams with the early penetration, and let's look at that Washington defense now. Up front, Stokes, Johnson, Williams, and Mann. Barker, Brantley, that's correct, and Wilbur Marshall, the linebackers. Barker and Brantley, new starters. Mayhew and Johnson, the corners. Edwards and Copeland, the two safety men, and Kurt Govea comes into play in what they think is a passing situation. 2nd 12. Flags and pointing and motioning, and Tim Johnson unloaded.
He unloaded on Dave Zott. Now again, it's who moves. Once that offensive line puts their hands down, they can't move.
78.
Tim Johnson thought he saw something move, but the officials are saying that nothing on that Kansas City offensive line moved. We're going to see if we see any movement here. Again, once those hands go down, there can't be any movement by the offensive line. And again, I didn't see any movement anywhere, offensive line, center, quarterback, or anywhere, other than number 78, Tim Johnson.
I didn't either.
He was just a little anxious. You know, sometimes you're supposed to watch your ball, but sometimes they try and anticipate that snap count.
2nd and 7. Here's Craig to throw it. Pass complete to Burden. Stopped by Martin Mayhew. A flag on the play. Wilbur Marshall motioning that there was a fumble. The players were standing up so we couldn't see. Pat Haggerty, the referee. Close to a first down. Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, when the players all start pointing at the other team, Pat, it could be either that they thought there was a fumble and it's their ball, but I think Wilbur Marshall was pointing to the other team that the penalties against them.
Number 79.
Personal foul is called against Dave Zott.
Personal foul, number 79. We're putting it on the play.
You know, the interesting thing about Dave Zott there, he was the guy that Tim Johnson just hit when he jumped off sides. So sometimes that'll rile you up. You're down there in your three-point stance here. You're trying to get all your stuff straightened out. You haven't had a lot of hits yet. Boom, some guy jumps offside and whaps you. the next thing, then you're looking for something to whap. So Tim Johnson got the 5-yard penalty. The next play, the guy he whapped gets a personal foul penalty.
That whapping can get you in trouble.
Well, 15 yards worth of trouble there. It's a 15 yards whapperoo.
It's second down at about 15, 16. Craig, incomplete. Knocked down by the head coach, Marty Schottenheimer.
I think that's a bad sign when your starting quarterback throws a duck to the head coach. You don't have a lot of confidence. You know, Dave Craig is a streak passer, and he's one of those guys that are up and down, and when he's good, he can really be good, and when he's bad, he can really be bad. He can throw a pretty good-looking pass, or he can throw some of the ugliest-looking passes that this league has ever seen.
13 years he's been at it. 3rd and 15. McNair backward. No flag. Screen pass out to McNair with room. Still on his feet. To the Redskin 30. Knocked out of bounds after a gain of 35 yards by Govea.
And Craig came running over to the sidelines. He's over there in the sideline talking about the play of the signals. The Chiefs went 4 wide receivers. McNair is the only back right to the right of Craig. He looks downfield. You see McNair blocks. Then they just hit him out there in a screen. Just gets behind his lineman. He doesn't even need a block. There's no one out there. They were all run off. The Redskin defense was all run off by those 4 wide receivers. And McNair, when he came out in the screen, there was no defensive guy around him.
Very well executed screen. Very well disguised by Craig. Fake to Okoye. Incomplete. I'm not sure who it was intended for.
That's what I'm saying. He threw one to Marty Schottenheimer over there on the sideline, and he threw that one just out of bounds. I would have to say in that bootleg on first down, there was no one open. He probably just threw it away. Yeah, they've narrowed some of the plays down. If you look at David Craig's left wrist, you see he has the plays written there. I think it's his first year with the Chiefs, and they feel maybe he had too much offense. They've taken a little of the offense back, put the plays on the wrist, and try and get him to do a few things very well.
Barnett on the move. Okoye. Stopped in the backfield by Edwards. He might have lunged to the line of scrimmage.
You know, that was a good call there. You're going to see Edwards here. He's sneaking up, and he's going to come up and make this run blitz right here. Good call by Richie Pettibone, not only calling the safety blitz, but blitzing her right in the hole that they're going to run. Now, you can guess pretty well where the Chiefs are going to run because most of their runs are between the tackles. So if you're going to blitz a linebacker or safety, you blitz them in that tackle area box.
3rd down. No flag. Craig. Diving catch, if he didn't get it on the hop, by Tony Hargan.
That's a good place to throw it, though. This looked good from up here. You see, he just throws it right down there where only Hargan can catch it. And I think it looks good. It looks like a good catch. That's a heck of a throw. You know, that's where you like to throw those slants. You don't want them up high because you hang your receiver out. You want him like low down and away where he can go down and catch that ball for the first down.
He came up with it in a hurry. It's taking a measure for the first down, not quite.
It's a good play there for the first down. It's also a good goal line play. This is going to be a tough decision for Marty Schottenheimer. I would think this early, the Redskins are beat up on defense also. They have a soft middle. I think this isn't a bad situation to go for it on 4th down.
And that's exactly, John, what they're going to do. No sign of Lowry. They're going to go for the first. Then with a big back like Okoye,
And a big offensive line. Every one of these offensive linemen are over 300 pounds.
Jones in front of Okoye. Flag on the play. Man might have jumped. That's better than running.
I think they got it both ways. If the Redskins jumped, they get it on a penalty. If they didn't jump, if there was no penalty, Okoye still got the first down. But I think that one was a long count. I think they gave him the long and hard count and drew him offside.
Defense.
Watch Dave Craig there. You see, he's going to give the long count. You see, and he gives a hard count. And we gave the hard count and a little head bob. That's the thing that got Charles Mann. This is not a Redskin type start of a game. That's their fourth penalty there. The Redskins are usually a much more disciplined team.
Usually they're among the leaders in the least penalized.
It's got them in trouble. They've got them in trouble offensively. And now it's getting them in trouble defensively because it just gave them a first down.
They're resetting the clock now as Craig brings the Chiefs back. Joe Gibbs, that look pretty well tells the story. A look of concern.
Well, it's been a concern really since they won the Super Bowl. Nothing's gone right for him this year from the start of training camp.
And he says it's not just the players, it's everybody. Coaches as well. This is Okoye. Picked up 7 or 8, tripped up by Mayhew.
I know one thing, if you're going to get a Christian Okoye, you better get him in his own backfield before he gets to the line of scrimmage. He hardly ever goes to the outside. He usually runs between the tackles. But here they all step out, they hook their men, they knock the linebacker off the line of scrimmage, and when you get Okoye into the secondary at 260 pounds, he's going to always make 6, 7, or 8 yards.
And if you're going to tackle him as a defensive back, you better make sure you're low.
You're going to go up there high because that's taking on a big old load.
Jones was the motion man. Okoye again. This time the Redskins converged just after he got the handoff from Craig. Danny Copeland again up.
Of course, they have they have John Brantley, who's playing in there at the middle linebacker. They just activated him last week. He's the guy that makes the tackle, but I think there's going to be a long day for him. And if you're going to look at some place to run, I think you would want to take advantage of Brantley and Barker, two linebackers with very, very little experience, and maybe stay away from Wilbur Marshall.
3rd down and about 4 at the 9. Both these two teams have had great difficulty scoring touchdowns. They just, once they pass the 20, haven't been able to get into the end zone. Arrowhead Stadium sold out. A rare visit by the Redskins to Kansas City. Sometimes it's kind of refreshing, John, to broadcast and to play a game like this where the teams are so unfamiliar with each other.
Yeah, and then to see new players and talk to new coaches. I know Marty Schottenheimer is a very impressive guy, and to see players and meet players like Derek Thomas and Neil Smith, and it is enjoyable.
3rd and 4 from the 9. To throw it. That'll be enough for a first down to Tim Barnett. It'll be 1st and goal, a gain of 7. Sidney Johnson made the stop.
One thing they're doing is they're not getting around Craig. He's back here. It's 3rd down. They have to pass. They get in the shotgun. They get 4 wide receivers, but look at that pass protection. Craig can throw that sidearm, and to throw it sidearm, you have to be able to find a lane.
Or he could have taken off with it.
I know it. He could have run any place he wanted to or thrown to any one of 2 or 3 guys. But again, very good pass protection or lack of pass rush.
1st and goal from the 2. Okoye hammers it into the end zone, and the Chiefs get on the scoreboard first. you don't have to go. You forget so quickly what happens in a game. You go back to the beginning Redskin offensive possession and what the Chief defense did to them to shove them just backwards.
That's right, and then that got him the field position. And then again, we talked about this was going to be won in the trenches. And the first part of the game, this Kansas City offensive line has won that battle against the Redskins defense.
Lowry for the extra point. Barker holding. And Kansas City leads it 7-0. There. We'll wait and see. Pat Haggerty.
On the defense, number 59.
Against Brantley. (7-0) Kansas City. Okoye the touchdown.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the new Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. Levi's Dockers, nobody does colors like Dockers. And by UPS for reliable, on-time delivery throughout Europe and around the world. Trust UPS.
Lowry kicks off with his Chiefs leading 7-0. Mitchell out to about the 20 and knocked backwards by Lonnie Martz. And so Washington will take over there. Mark Rippon brings his offensive unit out with 5:10 left to play in the first quarter. The Chiefs 7, the Redskins nothing. 5:10 left to play in the first quarter.
Yeah, Benny Thompson is number 46 here, right there, Pat. And he's one of the best cover guys in football. He draws a crowd. Watch what he does to Matt Elliott there. He pulls Matt Elliott, grabs him by the face mask, and then pulls him down. He got away with one there. That was a 15-yard face mask penalty.
Biner is the deep back. 1st and 10 Redskins. Chiefs lead 7-0. The handoff is to Ernest Biner. A gain of 6. Charles Mincy. Doug Terry made the stop.
You know, one thing that Neil Smith does is he flinches before the ball is snapped. Now watch him here. He's right there. But to draw an offside, watch, before the ball is snapped. You see that little flinch? He'll flinch. He doesn't get into the neutral zone, but he tries to draw that tackle offside. It's a move, but the thing is, that'll work against a lot of guys, and it'll work on passing downs. It's not going to work a lot against a vet like Joe Jacoby.
The two tight ends move over to the right side. Monk in motion. Biner. Not much. Neil Smith. Salemua.
You know, the interesting thing, Pat, on those 1st and 2nd down, the Kansas City Chiefs played nickel. They think that their front four, they're playing a 4-man line, can stop them. They had 4 defensive linemen, 1 linebacker, 6 defensive backs in there. On 1st down, they had 5 defensive backs. So it's interesting, the Chiefs are playing the Redskins with nickel on 1st and 2nd down.
That means Derek Thomas, number 58, down in a 3-point stance. And here he comes. Pass complete to Terry Orr. Pass to Terry Orr. 14-yard pickup.
Probably the most valuable guy on this Redskin offense the last couple of weeks has been Terry Orr. He's the guy that got him the touchdown last week, and Terry Orr and Biner were the leading receivers last week. Now watch your rush. You want to see a speed rush? Watch 58 here. He just gets that shoulder down there and runs and runs and runs. I tell you, even when you go slow motion, Derek Thomas is fast.
He is quick. Maybe the fastest linebacker ever. Here's Rippon with time. Intended for Terry Orr through his hands. Kevin Ross back there with him.
I think that's one of the problems with the Redskins too, Pat. I was saying that Terry Orr and Biner have been the big receivers of the Redskins. I think that, in all due respect to Terry Orr, I think when he is the biggest part of your passing game and you're not getting the ball to Art Monk, to Ricky Sanders, to Gary Clark, I think that's one of the big problems of this Redskin offense.
2nd and 10. Redskins at their own 40. Chiefs leading 7-0. Sanders is on the move, and Rippon gives to Biner. There's not much there. He might have gotten a yard. Neil Smith again.
Yeah, Neil Smith was one of those guys who, when he came out of college, was a good player against the run, and he had to learn how to play the pass. But he's always played the run well, and that's that counter trade. You see a guy will make a play, then he looks up at the screen to see how he did it, but they know that they're going to get a big dose of that play because that's the #1 Redskin play.
3rd and 8. Marker. The pass is complete. A good throw by Rippon to Gary Clark.
Again, what they did is they go on this backside down here, and they're going to double. They have the tight end and the tackle blocking Derek Thomas. They take him out of the game, and then they run their sprint or dash to the right. Thomas stops blocking him, stops rushing, and he runs all the way around there. But what they're trying to do is double team him on the backside and then sprint away from him. The problem with that is they have to sprint right into number 90, Neil Smith.
Heck of a play by Rippon. Misses Biner. Nudges it down to the Chief 40, stopped by Joe Phillips. Biner got 3 yards.
He was tackled by Joe Phillips.
You know, one thing that the Redskins don't want to do is give Derek Thomas an edge, an open edge.
And another thing the Redskins don't want is one of those offensive linemen to be hurt, and there is one, Joe Jacoby.
Yeah, and he came in with all kinds of hurts, and probably the biggest, the pinched nerve.
7-0. Kansas City leading. Washington on the move. 7-0 Kansas City. Joe Jacoby back to his feet. He had a pinched nerve in his neck and a lot of other ailments before the game began. He was not supposed to play last week, but did. But he's hurting.
And now you look at what they have to do. Here was their starting line as they started. Now Ray Brown is moving to right tackle. McKenzie moves to guard, and Elliott comes in at center. So they had to make 3 moves there.
2nd and 7. That's Biner. Not quite enough for a first down to the Chief 35.
He was tackled by
there's big Joe Jacoby, a veteran of so many campaigns and such a great heart. Such a wonderful player.
You know, and he's played everywhere. He's been a left tackle, he's been a guard, he's been a right tackle, and there's been talk about that maybe he ought to retire, and Joe Gibbs says, I don't know what I would have done all these years without Joe Jacoby, because he's always been the heart of that offensive line. He's been the heart of the Hog.
3rd down and 4 at the Chief 37. Kansas City leading 7-0. Monk in motion. And Neil Smith flinched and kept flinching.
Yeah, and he can do that to Ray Brown. You know, we talked about that. The flinch wouldn't work against Joe Jacoby, and it didn't.
Ball start. Prior to the snap, number 67.
See, he got Ray Brown.
Yep.
They just moved Ray Brown, again, from left guard. He's been working there all the time, starting there. Had him move over to right tackle. Just watch him here. Now, you'll see the move by Smith. He gives that flinch. He doesn't come across the neutral zone. He just moves the foot a little and moves the arm back, and he gets that tackle to move. You say, well, the tackle shouldn't fall for it, but if a guy moves and you don't move, you're going to be beaten all day. That is a very, very difficult thing to play against.
3rd and 9. 6 times the Redskins have been penalized already. Rippon to throw. Passes picked off. Clark fell down. Mincy with the interception and out of bounds. At at about the Redskin 45. Clark was the intended receiver. He fell down. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. Kansas City 7, Washington nothing.
Yeah, here's Gary Clark right down here. He's going to run an in here. He trips and falls down, and the interception happens here. It's against a double zone. But it was pretty good pass protection. He has time. You see Clark right there fall down. Boom, the ball is thrown at the same time, a little high, and Mincy picks it off.
Craig fakes to Okoye and goes deep. He's got a man wide open. It's Barnett. Touchdown, Kansas City.
When he's good, he's good. A heck of a play fake by Dave Craig. That's just what they did, remember, a couple weeks ago to the Philadelphia Eagles. Go that play fake and then throw deep. Watch his play fake. The offensive line fakes well. Craig fakes well. Then he just throws it, and he throws it perfect to Tim Barnett, who is behind everyone. Did they sell that run, though?
They really did, and they were talking about something that you don't think about yesterday. The noise of how they sell one of those play passes, play fakes.
Danny Copeland was telling us, he said what they do is the line blows out, and they make noises like big guys make noises in the trench. They'll go, you know, to make it really believe that it's a run. You come up, and then this happens to you.
And a strike to Barnett, and it's 14-0. Lowry to kick off. 14-0. Howard and Mitchell deep for the Redskins. High short kick. This is going to be Desmond Howard. The Redskins need something to happen. Something might happen. Howard knocked out of bounds by the kicker, Lowry. Good return, 42 yards. He brought it back.
He was knocked out of bounds by Lowry.
Yeah, we talked about the special teams yesterday with Marty Schottenheimer, and I think he was more worried about the special teams of the Redskins than he was their offense. Desmond Howard was one of the guys he mentioned. The other guy, of course, is Brian Mitchell, who is, you know, always dangerous as a returner.
Marty's having trouble with the headset.
Yeah, but he's happy with that 14-0 lead here, and he got that, remember, off the turnover.
That's Robert Green, a flag on the play, carried for the Redskins. And Joe Gibbs really likes Robert Green. He played with one of Joe's sons at William and Mary. And he just seems to make things happen.
Yeah, and Joe wants to find out if he can do it in a game.
Ball start. Offense. Before the snap.
Tell you one thing, I think this is the most penalties that I've ever seen by a Redskin team early in a game. I mean, you talk about self-destructing. They're down 14-0, but they've caused a big part of it themselves.
7 penalties against the Redskins already. And here's Rippon to Green. And he is welcomed. Griffin made the stop. Let's send you back to New York for an NFL update.
All right, Pat, in Milwaukee, Brett Favre of the Packers finds the NFL's leading receiver, Sterling Sharp, 5 yards in the touchdown. And with the extra point, the Packers take a 7-3 lead on the Eagles early in the second quarter. Pat?
Here at Arrowhead, it's 14-0. Kansas City over the Redskins. The Eagles and the Redskins chasing Dallas in the NFC East. Same record, 6-3, both of them, when the day began. Ripping a throw, screen pass. This is Green. 5-yard pickup, stopped by Chris Martin. The word on Joe Jacoby we just received was that he has a back injury. And his return is questionable.
5 on the play. It's 3rd.
Doesn't look like it.
No, I don't think that Joe Jacoby's going to play anymore today. But we were talking about the Robert Green and how Joe Gibbs said every time, he said we put him in practice and guys can't get him, they can't touch him, and we put him in at the end of the game, and he said I want to get him in early in the game and see how he does.
Biner replaced him. Rippon chased in the pocket and down by Saliamua.
Now there's a big guy. You talk about a guy with some real big arms and legs. Saliamua has them. I mean, Dan Saliamua is a man. And he gets that push in the middle. They got Joe Phillips and Saliamua inside. And then you got a Derek Thomas and a Neil Smith outside. I'll guarantee you there aren't many places to go because you're getting it boom from both outside and then that push up the middle from the 2 big strong tackles.
Kelly Goodburn back to punt. Low snap, you fielded cleanly, but the kick is not that good. It doesn't matter because they didn't have that much room for him to let go with the kick. Todd Bowles downed it. 33-yard punt. And the Chiefs will start at their own 16.
33-yard kick. No return.
57 left to play in the first half at Arrowhead Stadium. Kansas City leading Washington 14-0.
First down.
I'll tell you, Pat, I remember over the years playing here when I was coaching the Oakland Raiders, and they had that horse there called War Paint. And one time they scored 42 points against us, and we darn near killed War Paint. War Paint, that last time he was with his tongue was like halfway down to the ground. I told my guys after the game, I said, hey, you guys darn near killed War Paint today. So from then on, I would always say, let's just keep War Paint in the corral.
And that's where War Paint is, in the corral, or out on a ranch. The Benjamin Ranch, in fact.
Well, this is what he used to do. He used to come and run around the thing, and then I said, where the heck's War Paint? And, he's not here with the Chiefs anymore. There he is. He's in the stall.
You tired him out.
Darn near killed him. And then from that time on, I tell my players, hey, look, we almost killed War Paint once. I said, I don't want him running around that field anymore. And from that time on, we never lost another game to Kansas City. I swear.
He's 14.5 years old now. Attends various functions in Kansas City, but doesn't run around the field.
He even ran around on field goals, too. So he'd run around on touchdowns and field goals, and they had Jan Stenerud kicking field goals, and poor old War Paint, man.
War Paint was in good shape.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked a lot skinnier.
71.
That's the 8th penalty now against the Redskins. That called against Charles Mann.
Second and 1.
Yeah, this isn't a typical Redskin team. I mean, we know about the injuries, but this really has to be upsetting Joe Gibbs. I mean, you're going to have guys hurt. You have to make adjustments. You can't call all the plays you used to. Last year you started out 11-0, then you're Super Bowl champions, and then you have a start like this. This is darn near embarrassing.
Harvey Williams now is the running back. Craig fake to him. He's under pressure. Down goes Craig. Fred Stokes. A loss of 7.
Yeah, the first guy in there was Wilbur Marshall. Yep. Yeah, we talked about guys. Here's Marshall here. And you talk about guys that raise havoc, and we talk about the other side, but Marshall does too. Watch him. He comes in a pass rush. He's going to be the first guy there. He's the guy that made Craig step up. Watch Marshall. See him come in the rush. Here he comes. Boom. He's going around. Now he has to step up, and there's Fred Stokes making the tackle.
So it's 3rd down. Marshall having his best year. We were talking to the ex-Chicago Bear great Dan Hampton before the game, and he was saying Marshall is like he was with the Bears. Here's Craig. Gets out to Burden. And that'll be enough for a Chief first down, a gain of 9, stopped by Sidney Johnson.
We were talking to Marty Schottenheimer yesterday, Pat. He was saying that he was disappointed with his offensive line, that they hadn't been in sync and they weren't blocking well, and and he didn't like the way they have played so far, but they have played very well today. I mean, I think that they've given Dave Craig time. They've let him step up in the pocket. The Redskins haven't sacked him. They haven't been able to knock him down. They haven't been able to knock him around. And that's why Craig is 6 for 8 and 1 touchdown.
113 yards. First down here for Kansas City. The Chiefs leading by 2 touchdowns. 14-0. Craig gets it to Burden again. Flag on the play. You heard somebody yell late hit. Barker, perhaps.
Where's the foul? Number 98. Late hit defense.
Well, it was right. It was Barker, and that's what, the 9th penalty?
Right.
There was an 8-yard gain.
You know, there are penalties, and there are discipline penalties, and there are stupid penalties. I don't know about that.
No, I mean,
that was awfully close. I don't know that I mean, that was at regular speed there and regular sound, and it looked like Barker was right there about the time Burden was going down.
First down, Kansas City, just across midfield. This is Williams. Harvey Williams, and another flag on the play.
And then another flag. One came from deep, and that's usually holding against a tight end on offense.
And one might be a face mask.
5-yard face mask on number 27 defense.
That's against Brad Edwards, and those penalties. Boy, the Redskins just not used to this. But here it comes.
There's Edwards. He comes in there, and you just saw he just grabbed, and he got the face mask. He let go of it right away. And that's why it's a 5-yard penalty
instead of a 15.
I tell you, that Harvey Williams, they bring him in for Christian Okoye, and that gives him a different look, a much quicker, speedier look.
Greg. For J.J. Burden, incomplete.
That was the same pass that he threw to Burden before when they got the penalty. He just runs and stops there. The Redskins are playing kind of a zone and getting him off and give him that short little area there.
Marty Schottenheimer was saying that his quarterback, Dave Craig, had been making bad decisions. Not throwing poorly, executing the game plan, but making bad decisions. And he talked about the speed with which you have to make those decisions.
Yeah, he said you can make the decisions on a blackboard and sound good, but when you get out there and they're coming at you, the decisions not only have to be the right ones, but they have to be done quickly.
Fred Jones to the 20, stopped by Edwards, 14-yard pickup, and another Chief first down.
Tell you, Craig is hot on this stuff now. He's just throwing those little hooks, the 3-step drop, throwing the slants in there. The Redskins, for some reason, one, they aren't getting the pass rush because you can see Craig has been he's been sacked once. Nothing else has happened to him. He's clean all the game. He's been taking a short drop. He's had good pass protection. And the Redskins are playing a loose defense, and the Chiefs are just catching stuff in front of them.
Throwing so quickly, it's hard to rush him. First and 10, Kansas City. Lunge for about 3 yards. Eric Williams and Fred Stokes.
You know what Dave Craig does, Pat, that few quarterbacks do today is on a running play, he carries out his fakes. You know, that's one area of quarterbacking that has really gone downhill is the ball handling part. But Dave Craig, like that play, it's a run, he hands off, and then he carries out a fake. So they always have to check him, and he can always check to see what they're going to do against bootlegs.
That's pretty amazing after 13 years in the league that he's still that thorough.
The good ones always do it. Bob Greasy was great at it.
Back to throw. Quick one to Burden. And it's first and goal, Kansas City. Danny Copeland made the stop. That's been bread and butter so far.
I know it. It's all that same stuff. It's all that short stuff. Look, I think somewhere you got to get up and press or bump these guys. You see, no one, they're not getting the pass rush. They can't get there. He's getting rid of the ball quickly. The other thing you can do is get up on the receivers and press them and bump them. But you can't let them come off the line freely and just stop and catch those slants and little hooks in front of you. Somewhere you got to mix it up.
First and goal from the 7. Williams is the deep man. Jones in front of him. Williams down to about the 2 or 3. Just depends on where they mark it. Pick up of 4 yards. So it's close to the 3.
And this is Marty Schottenheimer's type of game. Yeah, where you run, and then you play pass, and then you get them off balance. Then you play good, strong defense. You're playing at home, you got them on the run, you got them backed up. The Kansas City Chiefs now have complete control of this game.
Okoye replaces Williams. He now is the deep back. With Jones in front of him. Think Okoye might get the ball. Touchdown.
Yeah. Tell you one thing, Pat, it's a good thing Warpaint's not here. That would have been his 3rd trip around this stadium.
Well, they got a guy with a flag. He's making his 3rd trip.
Yeah, they got a guy now that runs with the flag. He's over there behind the Redskin bench. That's how Warpaint used to do it. Warpaint went faster than that guy. But I'll tell you, if you're a visitor, if you're Joe Gibbs or you're the Redskins, that is an ugly sight.
This guy's starting to lean a little bit. And now he stopped.
He went down. He couldn't take it.
Lowry's extra point is good. It's 21-0 Kansas City. 6:22 left to play in the first half. Back at Arrowhead Stadium, Pat Summerall with John Madden. 21-0 Kansas City leading Washington. Leaving him in the dust at the moment as Lowry gets set to kick off.
Okoye had great blocking on that right side on that touchdown. We just saw Paul Dinger there, and the other guy was Jonathan Hayes, the tight end.
Sid Mitchell. And the return gets him outside the 30. Lonnie Martz made the stop. Here's a touchdown.
I know. Watch here. Here's Jonathan Hayes. Here's Charles Mann. And he gets him here and knocks him in. And that is the block that gets Okoye in there. But watch what he does to Mann. Now, tight end shouldn't be able to do it. See, he gets him pinching inside, just drives him inside and turns him. And that's all that Christian Okoye needs.
Okoye is bigger than the Redskin linebackers and some of the linemen.
Look at what Okoye does. He doesn't need that. He gets in there. He already weighs over 260 pounds. He gets a touchdown, and he pumps himself up even more. Get more into that. Body's about 275 now.
The running back is Ricky Irvins, hit behind the line of scrimmage by Chris Martin. No gain.
I tell you, Chris Martin has been injured too. They finally got him back today. They got Simeon back in the middle, and then with Derek Thomas out there on that one side, and Neil Smith. This is a pretty darn good defense, this Chief defense.
They've been stingy today. Here's Rippon to throw. Flag on the play. Pat Haggerty.
Ball start prior to snap, number 63, offense.
That's called against McKenzie. I think he's moved. One of the many who's moved now. He's the offensive left tackle.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, I mean, it's not only that they've had all these penalties. I mean, that's the 11th penalty the first half here by the Redskins, but these offensive linemen are getting them. I mean, McKenzie starts at center. Then he has to go to left guard, so he gets it at left guard. They get Ray Brown moved from left guard to tackle. He gets him at tackle. So part of it is the movement.
That's It's Ricky Irvins. McKenzie was the left guard. It's just hard to keep track of where they're playing.
Yeah, and then the other thing is you have to move around, and then once you get there, you have to find out where Derek Thomas is, and you have to get him blocked, and he is probably the most dominant and fastest pass rusher in football today.
And when you get past him, you have Neil Smith on the other side.
And Joe Gibbs says we don't want to give either one of these guys an open edge. And they're always going to have someone out there helping them.
3rd and 9. Rippon to throw it. Rippon for Sanders, incomplete. Doug Terry back deep with Sanders.
Again, I think right now that Rippon is just trying to get something going. He's going to force the ball, even though it's double covered. He's just trying to get the ball out there to Sanders. Just get a jump ball, just get anything going.
Good burn and a punt it again for Washington. Dale Carter back deep for Kansas City. He can unload on this one. And he does pretty well. Carter retreats to the 22. And down he goes about the 28. Flag again on the play. Brantley down to make the stop.
Yeah, sometimes when the wheels start to fall off, they just keep going. And I'm not sure that this penalty is against the Redskins here. It's probably not. But in this first half here in Arrowhead Stadium, the wheels have fallen off the Redskins wagon. They don't
not just one wheel.
No, the wheels. They don't even have a bandwagon anymore. Remember last year, they're 11-0. They're Super Bowl champions.
27 on the return.
They have a bandwagon now. They don't have anyone on the bandwagon. They don't even have a bandwagon anymore. It's in the garage, and the wheels are falling off it.
And the conductor, Joe Gibbs, is seeing some things happen that he's just not used to. All these penalties and all the injuries they've had on the offensive line.
And it's and it's been all those things. I mean, it started in training camp with the holdouts. He didn't have Lachey there. He didn't have Green there. And then Lachey gets hurt and Green gets hurt. He didn't have Rippon there. And they give him the big contract. They didn't sign Desmond Howard. Then he comes in late. So they didn't even start off good.
21-0. That's the story. Kansas City. Back at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, the home of the Chiefs. A happy home today.
What are you going to wear today? Well, I think I'll put on my Conehead football helmet and go to the game.
And that'll make, no matter where you go, a happy home.
I think I'll wear my face mask today. Never know what's going to hit you when you're out there.
On first down, this is Harvey Williams.
Harvey Williams, the ball carrier.
Out to about, pickup of about 3 yards. Look what Kansas City did on the first 3 times they had the ball.
Well, you can't do much better than that. They've had the ball 3 times and they've scored 3 touchdowns. They've done it different ways too. They've done it with the long play drives, a 10-play drive and an 11-play drive. And they also did it with the long one. Remember that play pass where they hit Barnett.
Craig hit Barnett on first down. Long down. Craig to throw it. Throws it quickly. Incomplete. Fred Jones, the intended receiver. A.J. Johnson with him step for step.
Saying that Johnson was holding him out there, but that's one thing I like about the Chiefs. They aren't just banging the ball in there and then throwing short. They're throwing short, they're running, and then they're going for a deep one. Then they go back to running, throwing short, and then boom, try and hit you with a deep one.
Craig is 9 out of 13 now. Kansas City has run off 24 plays. Craig will operate now from the shotgun.
Whatever he has on his left wrist, they're good ones today.
They have been so far. to Barnett. And a flag on the play. Enough for a Chief first down. Johnson was the defender.
And I think it's going to be against A.J. Johnson, too, because he looked like he was holding before the ball got there.
Holding on the defense.
That's a tough one to cover. I mean, I think somewhere you got to get up, and I think somewhere the Redskins are going to have to get up and press these receivers, because if they play off and react to them, they're really hitting them too quickly and in front of them on those slants and hooks and stuff.
First down, Chiefs. 12 penalties now against Washington.
That's one way to get the play called. You get a little time. Dave Craig just runs over and talks to Marty Schottenheimer, and you don't have to worry. What was that signal? What's on the left wrist? You just hear it right from his mouth.
So they go back to what is for them a normal formation. Use the lone back. When it's going right, it goes right. And for Redskin fans, when it goes bad, it goes bad. Davis comes up with a deflected reception.
Well, they're finally starting to press him, though. The Redskins, and that's one thing. Richie Pettibone isn't going to let you do something all day. I mean, he's starting to press those receivers. You got to get close. You got to hit them around that 4 or 5. You got to play the Kansas City Chiefs somewhat like you play the 49ers when Joe Montana was throwing all that rhythm, timing, short stuff.
2nd and 2. Williams has the first down and more outside the 40. It looked like nothing was there, and he got 6 yards with his own effort. Charles Mann made the stop.
Well, Harvey Williams has that speed and quickness. You know, Okoye, he just gets on a straight line, and he just goes that way.
Personal foul, crack back, number 88, offense.
Personal foul called against J.J. Burden from Kansas City.
Well, again, the receivers can come in, but they can't block below the waist. Used to be at one time you couldn't clip them, of course, and then they put in a rule where you can't make contact below the waist. Burden is looking like that, saying, who, me? I didn't do anything. And, of course, there's no reason for an outside receiver on that play to make a block, because it was Harvey Williams carrying the ball inside. And any block that they would have needed wouldn't have been until Harvey Williams would have broken and been way downfield.
Any crackback? Crackback, he says, does Pat Haggerty.
Yeah, he said it in an upset manner. Let's see if we can see 88 here, J.J. Burden. Again, it's right there. Yep, you see he did it right there. He cut him there, and it's right in front of the official. In fact, he almost knocked the official down. Here's Burden. Here's the crack. Here's the official right there.
And so as you said, there's no need to make that block.
And there's no need, because it was a way. It was a run up the middle. And again, the rule is you can't block them below the waist, and you shouldn't do it right in front of an official.
That's always a no-no. 2 minutes remain in the first half with Kansas City 21-0 up. 2nd and 12. Kansas City's Dave Craig has had the hot hand. Changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Fake to Williams. I don't think it was a planned fake.
I don't think so either. That was some kind of audible, and there was a mix-up between Craig and Williams, and Craig just kept the ball. The thing what they did is the Redskins put Govea and Wilbur Marshall both in the middle that time, and I think he tried to audibilize to an outside play.
Timeout, Redskins. 52 left in the first half, and coming up at the half, Greg and Terry with all the scores and highlights from around the league. 3rd down and 12. The Chiefs at their own 25. Lead it 21-0. Redskin blitz. Craig in a hurry. And then stepped out of bounds. A.J. Johnson on the coverage. Good throw by Craig.
Hey, Barnett's having a big day, too. We saw him get the touchdown here. This is a heck of a catch. I mean, a guy that can go straight and look back over his head and see that ball, because you can't see it all the way. You can't see it until it just gets over the top of your helmet. Tell you, Tim Barnett's cousin, is Fred Barnett, who plays for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he said he got a scouting report on the Washington Redskins from his cousin Fred Barnett of the Eagles this week. That may be one of the plays that you can catch it up on A.J. Johnson.
4 catches for Barnett. First down, Kansas City. Gray. Burden again. That same play. Burden in the slot. 14-yard pickup.
As you say, Craig gets back there and throws so quickly that they're not going to get the rush. The blitz doesn't do any good. Then the next thing you better start doing is you better start bumping those receivers on the line of scrimmage.
This is a Kansas City timeout now. They have 1 left. They lead 21-0.
Here's Tim Barnett down here. Now you watch, there's the press there, but when you get up here, you got to hit this guy here. You see, if you get up there to press him and you let him just run by you, then getting up to press you didn't do any good. A.J. Johnson was up there, but when you press, you got to pull, you got to bump that guy.
Tony Barker again jumped. And the flags go down. 14-3, 21-0 here. I was just looking at the Green Bay score. They lead Philadelphia 14-3.
And I'll tell you, the other lead is going to be the Redskins in penalties. I mean, they've had more penalties and more dumb things happen to them. And again, they have injuries. They have, players like you get a Barker, a new guy. You have different guys playing different positions. But I'll tell you, that doesn't change the eating that does on this guy's stomach, I'll guarantee you. I mean, those are things that really get good. If you're going to beat us, fine. Whip us, fine. But let's not beat ourselves.
1st and 5. Gray. Chased down by Fred Stokes. Back to the Eagles. Of course, as I said a minute ago, Greg and Terry will have all the highlights. They were tied with the Redskins as this day began. Both of them now losing. The Redskins and the Eagles.
Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs are probably thinking that they would like to be in that division.
Yeah.
They've already beaten the Eagles, and they're 21-0 on the Redskins. They said, what's so tough about that division?
Harvey Williams and a flag on the play. Barker made the stop. Williams got 5, but a penalty flag down.
Yeah, the
holding number 77 offense.
Ball against Baldinger.
Yeah, the Chiefs, their whole running game is inside between the tackles. They have very few runs that go outside the tackles. So if you're going to gang up on the run, it's really pretty easy. You look, they've run 14 times today. 12 of those times they've run inside the tackles right here. They've only run 2 times outside the tackle. So if you're going to gang up on that run, you can gang up in the run, and more specifically, if you're going to gang up on it inside, because that's where they're going to go.
The ball back at the 27-yard line now. 2nd down. Craig to throw it. Pulled it down a couple of times. That is Tim Barnett. And now he gets out of bounds, stops the clock with 50 seconds remaining. A.J. Johnson, the cover man.
One of the things Marty Schottenheimer told us yesterday, that they want to be able to control the middle of the pocket, and that's exactly what they're doing, because Craig can always step up. And he always, and that's what he did that time. In fact, the offensive line of the Chiefs are really keeping the Redskins middle right on the line. They're hitting them in the middle with the run, and they're keeping the middle open in the pocket for Dave Craig.
3rd and 3. Craig throws. Wide open, out of bounds again to stop the clock. Right at the 10-yard line. Martin Mayhew. A gain of 6. Mayhew forced him out of bounds.
And we talk about Craig being a streak passer. Talking about him being real good and real bad, throwing real good ones and real bad ones. Today, he's real good.
Real good.
What's that thing about that deal? When they're really, really good, when they're good, they're really, really good. And when they're bad, they're really, really bad.
First and goal at the 10. And if you lead already 21-0, that's really, really good. Craig. Out of bounds to Fred Jones. Mayhew again, the defender. They use 6 seconds.
And the other thing that Craig has been doing, the run is in the middle, and that's what got it started. By doing even though they've only run for 38 yards, they've established that they could run and stop the run, and then that opened all the passing. But he spread it around. I mean, Fred Jones catches that one. J.J. Burton, Hargan has caught passes. Tim Barnett, big ones. I mean, it's not just one guy.
At the 5, second and goal. Williams the lone setback. Might figure draw play here to Williams.
Just caved the whole thing in. Look at that. They were blitzing up the middle. They caved it all to the right. Harvey Williams went crack right up the middle and threw the ball in the stands. Says a heck with it.
Lowry for the extra point. They're trying to make it 28-0 Kansas City, and he does. 37 seconds still remain in the first half.
And Warpaint is lucky that he's out there in that ranch.
Warpaint made the wise decision. And so far, Dave Craig has made the right decision. This guy may be next stop Olympic Games.
I'll tell you, he starts out, he does what Warpaint used to do, go around the field. He runs slower on the other side. Then when he gets here on this Kansas City side, he tries to take it home.
And the cheerleader's gaining ground.
I think what helps him there, Pat, he has the wind. Better not let that cheerleader pass him. I'll tell you, that's 4 laps around there. If it were a 440, the guys run a mile with the flag. But the Chiefs have really put on a clinic here today. I mean, offensively, they've controlled the line of scrimmage. Dave Craig has been brilliant. The receivers have got open and caught everything. The running backs have hit the holes quickly. The defense has not let the Redskins even get started.
It's been that kind of day for Mark Rippon and the Redskins. Mitchell fields it at the 5. And down he goes at about the 20. The Chiefs.
They're rubbing it in now, but I'll tell you, they even started before the game.
They mistreated Mark Rippon.
Look what they did. This is before the game. This is the way they welcome a team. They have some guy come out. They take the visiting team quarterback. Look what they do to him.
This guy's dressed like a mouse.
Yeah, that looks like something that happens in the WWF.
Here's Rippon. Incomplete, intended for Clark.
That guy wasn't finished with Rippon yet in that pregame thing.
Well,
now he has one more thing to do after he's thrown him and jumped on him and earthquaked him and everything. Watch what he does here to him.
He wasn't far enough away.
He wants to get farther away, get a good old running start, really put the pedal to the metal and let him have it.
Now let's really get him. Ricky Irvin's the ball carrier for Washington. Benny Thompson made the stop for Kansas City. 5-yard pickup. Poor old Mark Rippon and the Redskins.
They used to do that. I know when I came in here with the Oakland Raiders, they used to do that to Marv Hubbard. They'd have old Hubbard, old Mother Hubbard dolls and all that stuff they call them. I tell you, the Chiefs have darn near been perfect, Pat. They've had the ball 4 times and 4 touchdowns in the first half.
That's the end of the first half with the score. Kansas City 28, Washington nothing.
Dockers Halftime Report is sponsored by Levi's Dockers. Nobody does color like Dockers.
And those of you who have been watching the action in Atlanta and in Kansas City, we welcome you to our studios in New York. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. Let's run down scores and highlights from you, beginning with the game at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs leading the Redskins by a score of 28-0, and the Redskins have been killing themselves with penalties, 12 of them for 70 yards. And Mark Rippon still trying to jumpstart his season. Neil Smith gets him near the goal line. Meanwhile, the Chiefs got on the board with Christian Okoye from 2 yards out. That put him up 7-0, and Kansas City hasn't looked back. David Craig, we talked about him in the pregame.
Well, if you give David Craig time, the one thing he is good at, Greg, is play action and deep passing routes. This is a deep crossing route. There's the reception. There's the touchdown by Barnett. And the Chiefs are absolutely all over the Redskins.
Chiefs looking to go to 6-4 on the year. The Redskins, should they lose, would also be 6-4. Meanwhile, in Milwaukee, the Packers leading the Eagles 14-3. That game has just begun again in the second half now. And Rich Kotite with the decision to start Randall Cunningham again today. Here's Vince Workman with a 1-yard touchdown run. Cunningham in the first half, 9 of 17, 54 yards, sacked twice, but he has started the second half.
I think that's a good decision. Right now, the game is still close, 14-3. But I do say this. I believe Randall has got to put some points on the board early in the third quarter. If nothing happens in the third quarter, I wouldn't be surprised if we see McMahon in the fourth quarter.
All right, Brett Favre, incidentally, having a terrific day, 11 of 12, 114 yards and a touchdown. They're at halftime at the Metrodome. The Vikings and the Oilers are tied at 10. Anthony Parker returned to fumble 58 yards for a TD for the Vikings. Warren Moon has thrown for a touchdown for Houston. They're at halftime at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. The Lions have never won there. The Steelers lead at 10-7. Halftime in Cleveland. The Browns trailing the Chargers 7-3. Mike Tomczak has thrown 2 interceptions, his first interceptions in 5 weeks. At the Meadowlands, at halftime, the New York Jets by 10 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Brad Baxter, a 1-yard touchdown run. Halftime at the Georgia Dome, the Falcons and the Cardinals are tied at 10. Billy Joe Tolliver is quarterbacking the Atlanta Falcons, has thrown a TD pass there. And Indianapolis and New England in the late stages of the first half, they are tied at 14. Scott Zolak, the starter for the Patriots, has thrown a touchdown pass. He is 7 of 11 and 75 yards. A reminder, this is a doubleheader day here on CBS. Coming up, some of you will see the Bears against the Bucks. Most of you will see either the Rams against the Cowboys or the Saints against the 49ers.
At Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, total domination by the Chiefs over the Redskins so far. They lead it 28-0.
National Football League is sponsored by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Miller Lite, an official sponsor of the NFL and Super Bowl 27. And by McDonald's, what you want is what you get, guaranteed at McDonald's today.
Both teams back on the field. Pat Summerall with John Madden here at Arrowhead Stadium. Look at these halftime statistics, John. 2 first downs for the Redskins, 17 for Kansas City.
You know, I think every way you look at it, the Chiefs just dominated the Redskins. The thing that, you know, that's probably the biggest surprise, that the score is 28-0. But the other big surprise to me, the number of penalties that the Redskins have. I mean, they just couldn't get anything going, and it started off right away. I mean, the first play of the game, they tried to run a reverse, had a penalty, and they got backed up against their own end zone, and the whole game now went that way. The whole first half went that way.
Joe Jacoby just walked by. He had a bad back. He had to leave the game earlier.
And he's had everything. I mean, he has bad knees, and he has a bad neck. And
Chip Lohmiller. Deep for Kansas City, Harvey Williams.
Really not too much that if you're Joe Gibbs you could say. at the half to the team that's been totally just run over almost by the Chiefs. Harvey Williams on the kickoff return out to about the 21. Brian Mitchell tripped him up. 19-yard return.
Yeah, if you look at David Craig, he's not only mixed the ball around to the receivers, but he mixed it short and deep. 7 out of 8 under 10 yards. 7 out of 8, 10 to 20, 2 out of 3 between 20 and 30. Then he had 0 for 1 over 30 yards. But one thing, you have to throw some of those deep ones to stretch that defense too. That's one thing the Chiefs did, and the Redskins haven't done that.
Christian Okoye will open it, the running back spot, the deep spot for Kansas City. Dave Craig, the quarterback. First and 10 Chiefs. Okoye hit in the backfield by Wilbur Marshall, but look how strong he is to get back to the line of scrimmage or perhaps lose a half yard.
And that's the thing that they probably talked about. Here's Wilbur Marshall here, and what he's going to do is just a run blitz. He's just going to run right in that hole, and if you're going to get Okoye, that's what you have to do. You have to blitz, you have to hit gaps, and you have to hit him in the backfield before he gets started. That's what the San Diego Chargers did to him last week. And I'm surprised that the Redskins didn't start the game that way instead of the second half.
2nd and 11. Here's Craig to throw it. Under pressure, he gets it out to Burton again. Not enough for a first down. A pickup of 8. Danny Copeland up quickly. Man almost got Craig before he got rid of it.
Yeah, but see, there's nothing inside. You see how they're keeping that inside? Now, Craig can step up. You see, if he had any pressure coming from the inside, he couldn't have stepped up. He would have had to stand there and take it. Now, watch what happens in the middle. You see, if you don't get any pressure up the middle, and the Redskins don't get any pressure there, then the guy can step up right there and still throw it, even though you do have some outside pressure.
Brings up 3rd down, about 3. The Chiefs leading the Redskins 28-0. McNair, the back with Craig. Pass was deflected and almost caught by the Chiefs. Tony Hargan. Pass was tipped and deflected by Tim Johnson.
Well, that's the thing that they were talking about, controlling the middle of the pocket. Then the Redskins know that they have to hit that middle of the pocket. You have to hit it on the run. You have to hit it on the pass. Wilbur Marshall hit it on the run, and Tim Johnson then just hit it on the pass.
Barker to punt for Kansas City. Brian Mitchell back deep for the Redskins. Barker at about his own 13. A dandy punt. Mitchell back to his 15-yard line. Gets it back to about the 25. Tracy Rogers down to make the stop. Redskins will take over after a 56-yard punt by Barker. 28-0. Kansas City over the Redskins.
Barker looks like Seinfeld. Oh, but
First down.
First down, Redskins at their own 25. Their first possession of the second half. First possession of the game was a disaster. Rippon outside to Monk. Stopped by Kevin Ross. A gain of 8.
well, you know, at the halftime, you always talk about what you did in the first half and what you're going to do in the second half. And I'm sure that Joe Gibbs looked at this. This is their first half possessions and what they did, and got off of that quickly and went to what they want to do this second half. And when you're down 28-0, the first thing you think of is get one score. You don't talk about getting 4 or 5 or 6. You talk about let's just move the ball, get first down, and get a touchdown.
Rippon straight back again. Pass was deflected, intended for Terry Orr.
Pass is incomplete.
You know, I think one thing the Redskins are doing, Pat, is because they don't have a lot of pass protection, because they've had so many injuries, they've shortened down their patterns. I know that Joe Gibbs says that he doesn't call the same game. He always has to think about pass protection first. But I think the other thing they're doing is they've shortened all their pass patterns. And Rippon never throws deep, but he doesn't have anyone running deep pass patterns.
3rd and 2. Monk, he just kept his consecutive game streak alive. Clark broke into the open, tripped again, but he was open. Dale Carter was the nearest defender.
And that's the guy they ought to work on. Dale Carter's the rookie again. He has no fear out there. He has a lot of confidence, but I think they ought to be working that area because Clark is wide open. I mean, Clark, if he doesn't trip, and if that ball's thrown to him, that's close to a touchdown right there.
Carter back deep, standing at the Chief 25, fake punt. This is Brian Mitchell, and Mitchell streaking down the sidelines out of the fake punt formation, gets a Redskin first down.
You know, someone has to give some life, and sometimes it can be the offense, sometimes it can be the defense. In that case, it's a special team. You're down by 4 touchdowns. You have to make something of it. You see what they do? They just snap it to the fullback. He's halfway between the center and the kicker, and he just makes a move. He starts on the right, makes a move through the left. The Chiefs are thinking return. They got their back turned, and he can get a big play.
Key block by Middleton was the one that really sprung him. Ricky Irvins is the deep back now. Biner. I'll give you the book on Biner in just a minute. Irvin. Left side about 7 yards, maybe 6. Bayless made the stop. Biner has a pinched nerve in his neck. That seems like that's been sort of a plague for the Redskins also this year.
Yeah, they have to lead the league in pinched nerves, don't they? Because Copeland had a pinched nerve. Coleman had a pinched nerve.
Jacoby
has a pinched nerve. Now Biner gets a pinched nerve. It's funny how injuries go in this league.
If you can stay away from them, you can almost guarantee you'll stay in contention. Rippon gets the ball to Sanders. To the Chief 20. A gain of 6. Bayless and Simeon.
You know, not only have they moved all those offensive linemen around, but they have Matt Elliott, who's a rookie, in there at center. And they're doing a pretty good job now. It looks like they got those bookends double. They're going to double out there. Brown does a pretty good job on Smith there. Double the other side, you know, and then let him step up and have some time to throw. Get that pass rush under control.
Rippon on first down. Dumps it up the middle.
You know, it looks like a guy like Derek Thomas can really make a quarterback aware of him all the time. I think on that play, I think Derek Thomas started to break on Rippon's left, and I think that Rippon saw him. I think he looked at Derek Thomas and then threw the pass.
He's one of those guys you'd think going into a game, you better know where he is.
Yeah, and then you better have a couple of guys on him some way all the time.
2nd and 9, quick count, Redskins. Rippon's going to take off with it. Cut down at about the 12 by Chris Martin. He scrambled for 8.
He was tackled by Chris Martin.
Hey, one thing, when you're down 28-0, that's what the Redskins had to talk about in there, is we just have to let it go and let everything go. We've seen Rippon run, and he wasn't trying to get out of bounds or anything. He's just running with abandon. We saw him get 4th down and take a fake punt, and Brian Mitchell run with the ball. I think that they're going to just let out all stops.
3rd and short. Irvins is the deep back, but Rippon will put it up quickly and does to Irvin. Inside the 10 down to about the 5. It'll be 1st and goal, Washington from there. Benny Thompson knocked him out of bounds. It's Jim Hannafin. What a job he's done putting together this line.
Yeah, again, we talk about, the guys, and then you have Matt Elliott, who I was mentioned earlier, is coming in at center. So, most of the snaps, or all the snaps during the week, Mark Rippon takes with Raleigh McKenzie. And then you have to bring in a new center, which is difficult in itself. But when the guy is a rookie, last player in the league drafted, then he's doing something special.
First and goal, Rippon rolls right. Flag on the play. Intended for Sanders. Neil Smith maybe grabbed Rippon by the face.
Number 90.
You're right, it's face mask on Neil Smith. Again, there's a 2 varieties, a 5 and a 15. This can't be 15 because they're in too close. But if you just grab it and let go, it's a 5-yard penalty. If you twist it, it's 15.
Defense.
There he is right there. Number 90 is Neil Smith. And he gets his left hand up on the mask, just pulls it down. And he reaches up there, and he uses that face mask and the hand on the face mask to bring Rippon down after he throws it. That could have been the 15-yard variety.
They did not mark off a penalty. It's still first down. This is a handoff to Urbans. Ricky Urbans dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington. Ross was chasing him. They never marked off the penalty.
Well, the Redskins didn't need it. Yeah, they got Biner hurt a little, and Ricky Urbans gave him a change of pace. Yeah, they got a little more speed in there, a little more quickness. The timing's a little off. He's able to bounce the ball to the outside. Watch Urbans. He lines up on the right side, comes across on that counter play, dips it to the inside. That holds the defense, and then he just outruns the one guy, Kevin Ross, to the outside.
So the Redskins, after an almost desperate first half, get on the scoreboard, and Low Miller's extra point is good. It's Kansas City 28, Washington 7, third quarter. Right now, Washington has moved down the field to get on the scoreboard. Harvey Williams on the kickoff return to the 20.
He was tackled by Martin Mayhew.
28-7, 8:17 left to play in the third quarter. The Chiefs over the Redskins, 28-7. Kansas City 28, Washington 7. Sidney Johnson is the injured Redskin, number 45. Let's see what happened to him.
Yeah, you'll see he was on the bottom of the pile there. You see him right on the bottom of the pile, and just the whole thing just caves in on him.
Wow. As Johnson still is down, the Packers continue to lead Philadelphia. Houston has tied Minnesota 10-10 in the third. Pittsburgh 10-7 over Detroit. San Diego 7-3 over Cleveland in the third. The Jets 17, Cincinnati nothing, third quarter. Phoenix and Atlanta with identical records going in. And New England and Indianapolis tied apiece, 21 apiece. There's Joe Jacoby. Back injury earlier, has not returned. Sidney Johnson now helped to the sidelines. Other games being played today. Later today, the Rams, Dallas, the Bears at Tampa Bay, New Orleans, San Francisco, Seattle and the Raiders tonight. The Giants at Denver. Giants back in the picture in the NFC East. And then tomorrow night it's Buffalo, Miami.
First and 10.
Now, I'll tell you, if this game keeps going the way it is, with the Redskins losing here and the Eagles losing, there's a couple teams that could be feeling pretty good. The Giants are one that you mentioned that could be back in the hunt. the Dallas Cowboys could start feeling maybe a little too comfortable.
They could be leading by 3 games, depending upon what happens to them against the Rams later on.
You know, and then if these teams that are second and third in the NFC East, if they start going down, then that opens up a whole bunch of wild card possibilities too.
It does. Okoye. Not much. No gain. Let's look at the NFC East. That's the way it stood when the day began. Dallas plays the Rams later. Washington 6-3, tied with the Eagles, also 6-3, both losing at the moment. The Giants play tonight against Denver, just a game behind those two. So as John said, a lot could be happening. A lot could be changing.
I tell you, one thing that's changing is this Washington Redskin team at halftime. They're a totally different team so far in the second half than they were in the first half.
Here is Craig back to throw. Pass is incomplete. Fred Jones.
Broken up by Andy Copeland.
Word just delivered to us that Pat Haggerty, the referee, has told the people here in Kansas City that operate the scoreboard not to put what he called in exciting messages on the scoreboard because it was inciting the crowd. They can be loud.
I don't know what kind of messages he's talking about. That's part of the thing. If people pay their dough, let them come. Let them,
they want to
let them have
excited.
fun. Yeah, I mean, this is a fun stadium. Let it go.
Under pressure and down he goes. Jumpy Gathers and Charles Mann. Mann has moved from defensive end to defensive tackle earlier. Now he's back to the outside.
Well, the thing is, you can see that they get the pressure straight up the middle. You see 97 Gathers here. He's coming. He gets the pressure up the middle. Mann is coming from the outside, taking a slant towards the quarterback. Now they've done a couple things. One, in the second half, their defense has gotten tighter on the receivers, and they're getting a better push in the middle on the quarterback.
Parker out of the end zone, a high kick. Brian Mitchell signals fair catch and makes it. At about the 47-yard line, the Redskin 47, where they'll start their offense from there. 7:10 left, third quarter. Pat Summerall with John Madden at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. The Chiefs lead the Redskins 28-7.
Yeah, if you look down there in the field, Pat, it's an interesting thing. The Chiefs have been a 4-man line. They're in a 3-man line now with 6 defensive backs.
Screen pass coming up. Ricky Irvins gets into Kansas City territory. A gain of 5.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs started out thinking they had to stop the run. They had the 4-man line, the 3 linebackers in. Now they're starting this second half, figured 28-0 lead that they had, that they're going to play them in a form of a prevent the whole second half. And again, that was a first down. They had 3 defensive linemen in there, 6 defensive backs.
Watch the Redskins. They've been going on a very quick count. As soon as Rippon gets up there, they snap it. This time in motion, so he has to wait. Rippon. Incomplete, intended for Art Monk. Like it surprised Monk.
Broken up by J.C. Pearson.
Yeah, but they got all those defensive backs there, and I think that now the Redskins are going to have to get all their receivers out, which they're doing. And they're letting their linemen block Thomas man-to-man. They're even getting their tight end out in the pass pattern. Because if you have 6 defensive backs in there, you better be able to run. If you're not going to run, you better get all your pass receivers out, or they can really gang up on you on coverage.
3rd and 5. Irvins makes the catch, and he might have nudged it far ahead enough to get a first down. Benny Thompson on the coverage, 6-yard gain, and it will be a Redskin first down after their deflection.
Did you see Benny Thompson there? He darn near took his head off at the end of the play. Benny Thompson is a special teams guy and a 6 defensive back. But watch him bring the bone here. Boom! He just take that left arm and he just wrapped it right over his head. I think Ricky Irvin saw it coming. And as he saw that left arm coming out there, Ricky Irvin's just ducked enough that he didn't get the whole thing.
And that duck might have gotten him the first down also.
And avoided a headache.
Sanders in motion. Rip into Irvin. Straight ahead. 5 yards perhaps. Stopped by Derek Thomas.
One thing about the Redskins, they pull everyone. You know, it used to be football. Remember, you would just pull the guards, and it got to be the tackle. Watch, here's Middleton now. He's a tight end. He's going to pull and lead on this play. So they pull their guards, they pull their tackles, they pull their tight ends. Neil Smith is saying you got to watch out for everyone when you play the Redskins coming at you.
Rippin, pump fake. Sanders complete inside the Kansas City 20. A courageous throw by Rippin, going backwards.
After Rippin threw that ball, he ran backwards about 25 yards.
That looks like Derek Thomas. Neil Smith now is the injured Chief.
Well, Neil Smith has just taken a knee right down by him, but they were chasing him, and that was a heck of a pass by Mark Rippin.
It'll be a Redskin first down at the Kansas City 18 when we come back. Kansas City 28, Washington 7. Leonard Griffin is the injured Kansas City Chief player. 98 his number. We thought Neil Smith, who's 90, and then we thought Derek Thomas, who's 58.
Look at the difference in this half, though. The Redskins lost the first half, and they've won the second half so far with plays like this. Look, Rippin brought that ball back and made a heck of a throw going away. And again, that's one thing. The first half, the Redskins couldn't make any plays. This half, they're starting to make plays. Rippin made one there. Rippin made one earlier on a run. And, of course, Brian Mitchell on that fake punt made a big play that really got the Redskins their first touchdown.
Rippin 7 out of 10 here in the second half. First and 10 Redskins at the Chief 18. Clark split wide to the left. Rippin gives to Irvin. Ricky Irvin had a couple of looks, but didn't get much. Derek Thomas.
Well, he tried that same thing they did on a touchdown where he took that counter trade, tried to dip it in that 7 hole, and then take it out to the 9 hole, dip it inside to hold him, and then bounce it out, and it didn't work that time. See, if you start here and you watch the counter here, he's going to look here, he's going to get behind his lead guy, and then he's going to start to look here. See, that hole there wasn't open, then he had to stop and go outside.
Redskins go no huddle. Clark, the intended receiver, Rippin overthrew him. He was well covered.
I think the thing that the Redskins are doing well this half that they didn't do in the first half is they're changing the pace. They're going running, they're going passing. They're passing short, they're passing deep. They're passing on first down. And of course, I think the Chiefs are helping them a little. When the Chiefs went to that 3-man line and 6 defensive backs, I think that made it a little easier for the Redskins to move the ball.
3rd and 10 from the 18. Kansas City showed blitz. Flag on the play. Rippin. Incomplete, intended for Gary Clark. No flags, but I think 2 flags back at the line of scrimmage. But not in the end zone. Excuse me.
I think one has to be offset. In fact, they're probably both against the Redskins.
Offense.
Yeah, they had a false start and then maybe even a hold. But you watch the flinch here again. You see what he'll do is he'll just flinch. He'll just start to make a move like he's going to go. You see that move there? And then Ray Brown, the tackle, moves. Then once he moves, the defensive guy can move. He can't get in the neutral zone. The offensive guy, once he's set, he can't move. And Neil Smith has been driving Ray Brown crazy with that flinch move. And that's an organized thing. I mean, he works on that. He talks about it. He says that he does it, and it still works.
13 penalties for Washington, 5 for Kansas City. 3rd down. Rippon. He's out of bounds.
And the Kansas City Chiefs just activated J.C. Pearson today, and he was a guy who was pretty good on that defense.
Chip Lohmiller with Jeff Rutledge holding. Lohmiller's 18 out of 25. This will be from 40 yards out. Lohmiller's kick is far enough and good. 28-10. Hard Monk. It's not safe to be a spectator if you get too close.
The Chiefs and NFL Motor Club are pleased to present.
Kansas City might just lead the league in barbecue, John.
I think so. They have a lot of fun here, and when we drove in this morning, they had barbecues going all over the place. I mean, they have big ones, and they have these big tanks like this.
Hog loins today.
Look, I mean, the guys.
Eat them hogs.
Yeah, the guys barbecuing, roasting hogs and stuff. You can't beat this. I think this is probably the best tailgate barbecue in the NFL.
This is Harvey Williams, and a flag on the play. Mayhew made the stop.
I'll tell you, when you drive in here, it smells good. And there's not a lot of parking lots in the NFL that smell good. Arrowhead smells good.
It sure does.
Push in the back.
And they do
on
some
the return, number 30.
elaborate preparing for the barbecues
Today. We're going to eat them hogs. Oh, boy. Yes.
Welcome back to John Madden City.
Yeah.
Look at that guy there. Where the heck did he come from?
I don't think he's going to make your team.
Are you kidding me? I think we dragged him on the bus. I think we picked him up around Ohio somewhere and dragged him into Kansas City.
He doesn't even look like he's in charge of the barbecue.
Yeah, 6 plays.
Straight ahead is Harvey Williams. Right now for an NFL update, let's send you back to our New York studios, and here's Greg Gumbel.
All right, Pat, in Milwaukee, just 24 seconds after the Eagles fell behind 21-10, the big play, Randall Cunningham with the screen to Heath Sherman, who goes 75 yards. It's now a 21-17 Packer lead over the Eagles. Pat and John.
Here at Arrowhead, it's 28-10. Kansas City over the Redskins. 2nd down and 5. Broke a tackle or so. Danny Copeland made sure he finally stayed down after he got 3 yards.
Well, that's what they have to do. They've had trouble with stopping that run, and we knew coming into the game, the Redskins said you have to stop the run. If you don't stop the run, then Craig can do all those other things to you, which he did in the first half. Now in the second half, they're ganging up in the run. They're plugging up the middle a little. They're getting a little more aggressive in their secondary.
3rd and 2. Craig lines up deep, back in the shotgun. McNair back there with him. Craig under pressure. Threw a grounder.
You know what happened? I think Wilbur Marshall did an excellent job. He lines up here, and he takes a drop, and then they get a little pressure on him. I think he expected Marshall to rush. He looks out there, and when Marshall drops, there's no place for him to throw to. And then by the time he sees that Marshall's there, I think then Mann was right on top of him.
And again, the Chiefs will have to punt.
But Marshall did a good job of faking blitz, and I think he expected him to come. And when he dropped off, he dropped right into the lane that Craig wanted to throw in.
2:29 left to play in the third quarter. Barker's kick is high, but sort of short. Fielded by Desmond Howard through the lateral. They scrambled a recovery. Mitchell finally comes up with it. They've done that before.
Yeah, they did it the other way. It was Mitchell throwing to Desmond Howard. They got a touchdown out of it. Remember, this is a lateral, so you can have a lateral, but it can also be recovered by the other team.
And Mitchell did a heck of a job recovering it.
Yeah, you watch here. It's going to be on the right. Desmond Howard catches the ball. Then he's going to throw it across the field. Now, he probably should have waited, or Mitchell should have been farther away, because they were really too close together. You see, he's there. He throws a short pass, so the same guys that are in coverage toward Desmond Howard can also cover Brian Mitchell.
Rippon back to throw. Dumps it out to Irvin. Started to run before he had it. Just as well.
Well, of course, the Redskins are pulling out everything they have. We've already seen a fake punt, and that got him a first down. And then on the punt return, we saw that lateral play, but didn't get him anything. There's Howard Mudd, the offensive line coach of the Chiefs, trying to tell his guys how they have to pass protect the second half the same way they did the first half.
2nd and 10. Sanders makes the catch. First down, Redskins. Ross made the stop. A gain of 25. Ripping to Sanders.
And again, the Kansas City Chiefs have gone to a defense with more defensive backs in there. And I think what that's done is that's given Rippon more time to throw, and they're not playing as aggressively in the secondary as they were in the first half. And now the Redskins are able to get the ball down the field.
Redskins playing hurry up. And catch up. Screen pass to Irvin with blockers in front. Ricky Irvin's down to the Chiefs 25. Stopped by Griffin. He gained 8.
And they're over there working on Derek Thomas. And again, when a player hurts his ankle, he has that taped underneath his shoe and sock, so you don't have time to take off the shoe. So if he needs extra tape or more tape, you just tape it right over the shoe.
2nd and 2. Again, the Redskins in a hurry. Outside to Irvin. Ricky Irvin's to the 10, inside the 10, out of bounds at about the 9. It'll be 1st and goal from there.
I think the Kansas City Chiefs gave some spark to this Redskin defense, but another guy did is this guy right here. Ricky Irvin started playing this second half. Ernest Biner's been hurt, but he's given him a new dimension, a little more quickness.
He gets a little rest. 1st and goal from the 9, and all of a sudden the Redskins about to get right back into this contest. Rippon again in a hurry. Throws it away. Brian Mitchell replaced Irvin's.
Whatever it was with Derek Thomas, it had to be an ankle. He just needed more tape job. And again, I think they know that they need a pass rush. We just saw Thomas go out, then come back in, and as he comes back in, look who's going out. Neil Smith goes out on the other side. So they had 2 of the bookend best pass rushers in football, and they've both been out on different plays.
2nd and goal from the 9. Here comes Chief. And they hit Rippon just as he let it go. Tom Sims came firing up the middle.
David, just look at this from the backside. We're going to see the backside pass rush now. There's nothing that Rippon can do here. He's looking to the right. You see him looking right? He can't do anything except know the pressure's coming, and he better get rid of it. I'll tell you, and that saved him just by getting rid of that. Even though he hit the back of his own guy, that saved him about 7 yards here.
On 3rd down. Ripping back to throw it. Incomplete. Intended for Monk. Kevin Ross batted it away for Kansas City.
Big play by Kevin Ross. That's what you play corners for. You got to play man-to-man down here. You're playing man-to-man. You have to get Art Monk. You have to carry him on the cross. Watch his coverage on the cross. He not only gets all the way over with him, he gets in front of him and then reaches back to knock that ball down. He had to catch up with him. Then he caught up with him. Then he overran him. Then he had to reach back to knock it down. That's a heck of a play.
Jeff Rutledge, the holder. Lohmiller will attempt a 26-yarder. And he is successful again. The Redskins move closer, 28-13. 22 seconds still left in the third quarter. I don't know what Joe Gibbs told them at the half, but they got the message.
Well, again, they've done a lot of things. They've helped themselves. They went that fake punt. They've got a little more aggressive, I think, on offense going down the field. I think, again, the Chiefs have helped them out. The Chiefs aren't putting the same pressure on them on defense. The Chiefs have gone to a form of prevent or a form of pass defense, figuring when you're ahead 28-0, they're going to pass every down. And I think that maybe, and I'm not second guessing, but I said it earlier, I think maybe that played into the Redskins' hands.
Joe Gibbs. Talk about your competitors. You knew him when he was a player, when he was a young coach. He's always been a real competitor.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean this is his life and coaching and competing and winning, and you just look at his life and you know that he's taking the losses a lot harder than he's enjoying the wins, though.
Harvey Williams will stay in the end zone. Back to the subject of Joe Gibbs. He was telling us, what, 2 or 3 weeks ago, that his wife, he would leave the house to go on a road trip like this one and say, this is a big one. Honey, this is one we got to have. And she said, nah. I've been listening to that so long.
Yeah. He said in Minnesota it didn't work. He was going to Minnesota. This is the biggest game we've ever played. She's going, oh, don't give me that stuff. I don't believe it. And he told us last night, he said, for about 8 years she bought that. He said after that she doesn't buy it anymore. But there are some teams she doesn't like. And she'll tell him, you better get this one.
This is a big one. This is Harvey Williams. Trying to get around the corner. Dragged down. Tony Barker dragged him down. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. Kansas City 28, Washington 13. Our score, our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. A quarter to go at Arrowhead Stadium. 75,000 plus on hand today. Neil Smith broke his nose, what, 4 weeks ago? And it's been bothering him ever since then.
I think his ankle's bothering him, too.
Right, it is. Here's Craig. Pass intercepted by Edwards. Brad Edwards down to the 20. And the Redskins take over. Dave Lutz made the stop.
That's why someone says that's why they played 2 halves. I mean, the first half of this game, they came out and they looked perfect. Watch Edwards. He's going to just be sitting right here. He's the free safety. He's just sitting in the middle. Play pass. He doesn't step up at all. You see him? He didn't step up at all. They tried to hit the seam, but there wasn't any seam because Edwards didn't go for the play pass.
So it's 1st and 10 Redskins at the 20.
Well, you like a free safety like Brad Edwards, who was a quarterback at one time. You don't go for those quarterback tricks.
Irvin. He has swarmed on a loss of about 5 crisp Martin and Benny Thompson.
Did you see Raleigh McKenzie on that play? He's playing left guard. He looked like he didn't know the play. He ran out there and just stopped. Watch him. He's going to pull here. He comes out here and he stops, and the play is coming towards him. Watch him. Irvins is waiting for a block. McKenzie says, look out. They're not going to give you the ball. Go get a guy in the red jersey. What happened already on that play?
Here comes a blitz by Kansas City. They have a screen pass call, and that's not going to go much of anywhere either. Doug Terry. A loss of a yard. Doug Terry knocked Irvins out of bounds.
I think that's really hurt. You know, you take a guy like McKenzie, and he's been a center. Now he has to go play left guard, and you have to make adjustment all the plays. He didn't know the play. So that fouled up a first down play, then that put you in second and long, and now, because of that, you're in third and long.
3rd and 16. That's Clark in motion. Now they shift. They got to get set. Neil Smith gave him that clinch move again, and now it's going to be, it looks like, against the Redskins.
And Ray Brown was saying no, that time he came into the neutral zone. Earlier, he would just flinch, but he wouldn't break the neutral zone. That time, Neil Smith came across.
Defense.
Yeah, see, he encroached that time. That's different. See, before when he was doing the flinch, here he is right here. When he was doing it, he wasn't coming across the neutral zone. Now he does it. You see, he flinched. Now he comes. Right now, the penalty's against him.
Right. Still 3rd down. Smith's still upset. 3rd and 11.
But what he's saying is he moved on my flinch, and then I moved after he moved on my flinch. That's the argument. Ray Brown saying, I didn't move on his flinch. I moved when he moved.
That's a lot to say in a very short time.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough play in that deal.
Here's Rippon. Incomplete. Intended for Sanders. Benny Thompson got the hand on it. Thinks he should have had an interception.
Benny Thompson is playing a heck of a lot, because you say, why is he in there? Well, he is the 6th defensive back. He's the nickel back. So he's in there, and he's been playing this whole second half. He was just playing his own, just standing there, and he almost ended up with that one.
This will be Low Miller from 38 yards. Rutledge holding. Don't forget he's a quarterback. Low Miller is good again with plenty of room at the end. And the Redskins take advantage of the break. It's 28-16.
This game summary is sponsored by McDonald's.
Kansas City led 28-0 at the half. Washington had 13 penalties. Total yards since that Washington fake punt. The Redskins have owned the Chiefs 107-1. Low Miller's kickoff to Harvey Williams, and he will stay in the end zone. And Kansas City will take over from their own 20.
Now, Kansas City, you're talking about an offense going dormant. In the first half, they had 17 first downs, and in the second half, they haven't had a first down. So you can say part of that is the Redskins, I think, started forcing the issue on defense, and the Kansas City offense just isn't operating. And you watch Marty Schottenheimer there, and I think he's telling his guys that right now.
That's Williams, the deep back. A handoff to Williams. Left side for about 8 yards. Let's send you again back to New York for an NFL update.
All right, Pat, in Milwaukee, back-to-back pass interference calls on the Packers move the Eagles 83 yards. A determined Herschel Walker took it the last 2. It's 24-21 Eagles with 3:25 to play in the game. Pat?
It's 28-16 Kansas City over the Redskins. 2nd and 2. But a flag on the play.
tell you, the Redskins really tried to guess with that one. They just brought Brantley straight up the middle on a run blitz. The penalties against the Chiefs, so they didn't get it, but they were really going to clog that run with Brantley and Wilbur Marshall on that play.
It's against Kansas City, so forget about the first down.
Holding, number 76, offense, still second down.
John Alt.
Second and 12.
Is number 76. Second and 12 now make it.
John Alt again probably thinking he really didn't have to hold because that run was inside.
Williams, the deep back. Craig appears to be changing the play. And the handoff to Williams, stopped at the line of scrimmage. Govea. Maybe he got a yard or two. Tim Johnson and Govea made the stop.
Well, you know what happened? He saw them move here, seeing they moved and got in here to the middle, so you would think that he would try and get outside, but he audibleized to run right into him. You see Eric Williams shifted over the center, and you would think that they would have decided to go someplace else, but they ran right into the strength of that Redskin defense.
So it's 3rd and 10. 28-16, Kansas City leading. Redskins showed blitz and then backed away. The pass is complete for Craig to Tony Hargan. And that'll get him some room, a pickup of 21 yards.
Well, they were running that play in the first half. They were running it to the other side against A.J. Johnson. That time they run it against number 35, Martin Mayhew. You watch a 3-step drop, zip that thing right in there. There's Mayhew. That's pretty good coverage, but that is almost a perfect pass.
He was tackled by Kurt Givane.
1st and 10, Kansas City at their own 41. The Chiefs' first down of the second half. Here's Craig, chased by Mann. Pass almost picked off, intended for Hayes. Edwards almost came up with another interception.
Hey, Edwards is playing pretty well back there. He's the guy who just got the interception. Again, he didn't go for the play pass on the interception. He doesn't go for the bootleg here. He sees bootleg. He doesn't come up. He doesn't think it's a run. He just sits back there and plays pass and almost picks it off. Was going for the tight end, Jonathan Hayes, coming on a crossing pattern.
2nd and 10, Kansas City at their own 41. But he got 7.
Good blocking on that right side. Rich Baldinger and David Lutz. They made a hole. They took Mann to the outside, Williams to the inside, and Govea had to come and make that play after a couple-yard gain. With good blocking over there in that right side of the Chiefs line. If it weren't for Kurt Govea making that tackle, that would have been a first down.
The Chiefs don't pull anybody. They just block straight ahead. They block areas.
Well, they're big old guys. They're all 300 pounds, big old linemen.
3rd down. Craig will throw it. Maybe. Pass is juggled and incomplete, intended for Fred Jones, and they'll try. Too far out to try a field goal. They'll have to punt.
He had so much time there, David Craig did. I think maybe the Redskins were playing a run because they just were all right on the line of scrimmage. He had so much time, he just couldn't find anyone open. That was good coverage.
This is Fred Stokes, the injured Redskin. We have 9:48 left to play.
Coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, builder of fine automobiles since 1886. Norelco, patented lift and cut shavers. And by Enterprise Rent-A-Car, the special delivery company.
Pat Summerall, John Madden, Fred Stokes, the injured Redskin player. 28-16. Kansas City led 28-0 at the half. 9:48 left to play at Arrowhead Stadium.
And that's a new area of injury, the defensive line for the Redskins. Joe Gibbs was talking last night about it, how it really hit him in two areas, the offensive line and linebackers. And really, when you look at their defensive line, they don't have a whole heck of a lot of depth there either.
That's right. With the player limit being what it is, you have to have people who can do a lot of things. Brian Mitchell standing back for the Redskins at the 5. Parker to punt it. Not a good one. Does turn out to be a good one. A great bounce and a great play by Dale Carter. It turned out to be a 51-yard punt after that artificial turf bounce.
Look at Dale Carter here. He's a rookie #1 draft choice. You can't get your feet on that line or in that end zone when you get the ball. I tell you, that is something to not step on that line. Dale Carter was able to do it, grab the ball, and then when he put the ball back, then he went into the end zone.
Great presence of mind. Redskins will start inside their own 1-yard line. Ricky Irvins, the runner for Washington. Here's Rippon to throw it. Gets it out of the middle to Clark. Clark through the tackle. And fought his way out to about the 8. Dale Carter, who just made that play on the punt, made the tackle. The Redskins go no huddle.
Hey, I think down here in the left, he had Ricky Sanders deep. I think maybe he was thinking about it, but he had to come off it and go to the short one.
He goes in a hurry on the draw play to Irvin. 2nd and 2, and they get nothing. Taliamua made the stop, lost perhaps a yard.
Ricky Irvins was long career. There's a loss of a yard on the play.
On the Redskin bench, they're working on Fred Stokes there. You know, he's had bad shoulders over the years. And when they tape that knee like that, I don't think he's going to be back in there.
3rd and 3, Washington. They trail 28-16. And here's Rippon with protection. Incomplete. Intended for Clark. Irvins thought it was for him, and he deflected it.
And Mark Rippon ran up to Irvins. He's saying it's tough enough because Dale Carter was there too. But look what he had to do. He had to wait for Neil Smith. He had to wait for Neil Smith to get up, then come down, then throw around, and here comes Ricky Irvins and knocks the ball down.
Kelly Goodburn standing back deep in the end zone for the Redskins. Carter to receive the punt. Line drive in Carter's direction, and he just stays away from it. The ball rolls dead at the 40 of Kansas City. So with 8:13 now left to play, the Chiefs lead 28-16. First and 10, Kansas City. This is Williams. Left side for about 4. Tim Johnson made the stop. Fred Stokes has a sprained knee.
Shane Collins is in there for Stokes now. So you have another move there. Look at Dave Craig. You can see on his wristband. You see they call a play, and the plays are right there written on the wristband. So then he looks down at the wristband and calls a play in the huddle.
2nd down and 6. Williams again. Williams, 1st down, Kansas City. Shane Collins came over to make the stop.
it's interesting. We show that was a big first down for Kansas City, but we show the wristband of the quarterback, Dave Craig. Then you have a quarterback on your defense, and that's Brad Edwards. You see, and he has the dogs and the fake show zebra and the whole thing. He's the guy who calls the defenses for the Redskins. So he's wearing a wristband. So you got the wristband and the counter wristband.
First down, Kansas City at the Redskin 47. They lead 28-16. Not much there, and a flag, a late flag. 2-yard pickup. Wilbur Marshall blitzed up the middle.
Yeah, that was a run dog. Marshall was going in that hole all the way, and again, they're going back to stopping the run.
Called against Tim Johnson, the face mask violation.
Hey, I mean, a lot of things have killed the Redskins today. One of them, a big one of them, being penalties.
That is a final. Chris Jackie from 41 yards out for Green Bay with no time on the scoreboard as the Packers beat the Eagles.
You know, and just a couple of weeks ago, everyone was saying that the NFC East is the best division of football, including myself.
Yeah.
And now you see the Eagles lose and the Redskins, what they're doing here today.
Harvey Williams knocked backwards and scrambled out of the pack. Maybe he got a yard. Eric Williams and Charles Mann made the stop.
Yeah, they're ganging up there on that run now. I mean, they know now the Redskin defense is getting desperate. 5:56 left, and they have to get the ball back. And, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs are just thinking, take your time, keep the ball in the ground, don't go out of bounds, control the clock, and get first down.
Take your time in the huddle, which is what they did just now. 2nd and 2. Should be Williams. There's Williams. A lot of Williams. Inside the 30, a pickup of 11, stopped by A.J. Johnson.
I think with that first down, the Redskins can see it coming now. These Kansas City Chiefs can throw a lot at you. They start with Christian Okoye, the 260-pound running back. Then they could bring in a Harvey Williams like this with the quickness. And we haven't mentioned Barry Word, who's injured and isn't playing today, hasn't played in the last couple of weeks. But they can run it at you a lot of different ways with a lot of different guys.
As Marty Schottenheimer was saying yesterday, my problem, we've got plenty of good backs. My problem is getting them in the game.
We only got one ball.
Piled up after a couple. Shane Collins.
The Redskins are taking a timeout now because Joe Gibbs knows that he's thinking of a couple of touchdowns here, and he has to get that ball back. He has to be thinking in terms of a turnover here.
This game is presented by authority of the National Football League. This CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the National Football League is prohibited. Today's game was produced by Bob Stenner and directed by Sandy Grossman. Coordinating producer of the NFL Today is Eric Mann. The NFL Today directed by Duke Struck. And the senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Goren.
Yeah, this is what a center has to do. That's Tim Grunhard here, the center. I mean, he's calling out the things, all the blocking. It's not only the quarterback that makes calls, but the center, once the quarterback makes the call, the center has to read the line, and he makes all the line calls and adjustments on the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 9. Williams again. Flag on the play. Williams got 2. Stopped by Govea.
That was Pat Haggerty, the referee, called that holding. Usually it's the umpire, the guy behind the defense, who does it. Oh, Pat just slid that one in there.
Subtle flag.
Holding, number 61. Offense, still second down.
In addition to calling all the assignments, he also holds.
That may be what he was calling to the umpire. Don't you call any holding. And lo and behold, from behind, Grunhard gets one. The referee calls it on him. They say he's a throwback to the old days. In fact, he played for Lou Holtz at Notre Dame, and Lou Holtz said he's one of those guys that would have played with a helmet, played the game, and then folded it up and stuck it in his back pocket.
Carried it to class. Second down. 19 to go as Craig will throw it. Got away from the sack. And goes down with a slide. The score here at Arrowhead Stadium is Kansas City 28, Washington 16, with 4:16 left to play. Timeout Redskins. They have one left. Craig comes over to the sideline to talk with his coaching staff. Mark Rippon staying ready.
Well, he's staying ready. He's getting frustrated. He's throwing the frustration out. This is not only a frustrating time for Mark Rippon when you need a couple scores, you don't have the ball. Kind of been a frustrating season. It's a frustrating season for Mark Rippon and for Joe Gibbs, because you know you're losing and there's not a darn thing you can do about it.
Well, there's really nothing you can do about the injuries, and that really has decimated this Redskin team. Not that some of the other teams, including the Chiefs, haven't had injury problems.
And it's tough. It's tough repeating. I mean, you're a Super Bowl champion, and everyone comes after you. It's hard to get your guys to camp. It's hard to sign them. And the Redskins are feeling the effect of all these things.
3rd and 17. A lot of people pointing. No flag. Man open. Barnett. 35 yards. Barnett's second of the day from Craig.
Dave Craig has had a great day. He had a super first half, a little slow in the third quarter, and then when they had to put it away here at the end, he came up to it. Again, 4 wide receivers, 5 men out in the pass pattern. A.J. Johnson gets turned around by Tim Barnett, and it's a perfect throw by Dave Craig, and no tackle by A.J. Johnson. Well, Tim Barnett's having a big day. As we said earlier, his cousin Fred Barnett gave him a scouting report. That's a better scouting report than the Eagles had themselves.
6 catches and 148 yards for Barnett. The extra point is good. 35-16 with 4:08 left to play.
That's the fun thing about running a pattern like that, a corner. You can do it, you can get a touchdown, and then you can talk about it for a long time. Yeah, we're going to see him out here. Here's A.J. Johnson here. He's going to come up and make the move and then back to the corner. See, he starts out there. Again, A.J. Johnson is up on him. He starts inside. He doesn't give him the bump. He tried to grab him there. He started to the inside and then just outran him to the outside. But if you're up on him like that, you got to jam him on the line of scrimmage. The Redskins have been up, but they haven't gotten any kind of jam to knock them off a pass pattern.
So the Eagles lose to Green Bay, and Washington is losing to Kansas City. You're looking around the rest of the league at some of the scores. Lowry set to kick it off for Kansas City. Craig is 19 out of 29, 302 yards, 2 touchdowns, both to Barnett. As you said, John, he's had a good day, a hot day.
Well, and then that Kansas City defense really helped him too in that first half, because they completely dominated the game, and his offensive line has had an outstanding day.
Lowry's kickoff sails down to Brian Mitchell at about the 1. Still scrambling is Mitchell. Got it finally to about the 22. Right now, again, let's send you back to New York for an NFL update with Greg Gumbel.
All right, Pat, at Milwaukee, what happened to the Eagles? Herschel Walker fumbled in his own territory in the game's final minute. Chris Jackie hit a 41-yard field goal as time expired, and the Packers winners over the Eagles 27-24. Pat?
Back at Arrowhead, Kansas City 35, Washington 16. Redskin ball at their own 21.
The guys are getting tired now, Pat. Derek Thomas, the linebacker, he came on a stunt and he ran right into his own guy. And they're talking about it now. I think it was Dan Saliamua, but he started out on a stunt. He was going to be the one where he comes inside, the tackle goes outside, and boom, they just ran into each other. Just watch him right there. See 58, he comes in, whap, he runs into Saliamua right there. Saliamua didn't work out.
Ripping to throw it again. Gets it to Clark. And Gary Clark spins backwards.
Pass to Gary Clark. He was tackled by J.C. Pearson.
J.C. Pearson brought down Gary Clark.
You know, and there's a group. There's Rich Baldinger, the right tackle. All the Kansas City chief offensive linemen sitting there. And they did a real good job of pass protecting and run blocking today.
Redskin first down. Ripping to Sanders. Here's that offensive line. As you said, they all weigh over 300.
Yeah, and they're big old guys. Alton, Zott, Grunhard. We talked about him with the leather helmet. Lutz, the right guard. Baldinger, the right tackle. And again, they ran the ball inside all the time and good pass protection.
Ripping. Scrambling for time, and he'll have some. He had some. Finally chased down by Neil Smith. And let's again send you back to New York for an update.
Pat, at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, Bubby Brister on for an injured Neil O'Donnell. A 1-yard touchdown to Tim Jordan with 2:50 to play. And the Steelers lead at 17-14 in the fourth. Pat?
Perfect day weather-wise. Back at Arrowhead, a good day for Kansas City as well. Screen pass to Irvin. And Ricky Irvin up close to midfield. First down, Redskins. Benny Thompson made the stop.
You know, watch Neil Smith after he gets a sack. Now, this is his move. It's a baseball swing. That's a baseball swing. Like, boom, you're hitting one out of there. In fact, he got it from Martin Lawrence, a comedian. Deion Sanders said it was a nice-looking golf swing. He said, no, it's a baseball swing. He said, come to the batting cage. I'll help you out.
We would like to thank you for coming to today's game.
35-16, Kansas City. Pat Summerall with John Madden. 2 minutes left at Arrowhead Stadium. Been a busy day for Benny Thompson.
Yeah, he's played a lot more defense than he normally does. He's the special teamer who is in the Pro Bowl in New Orleans, put on Plan B, picked up here by the Chiefs, and become their nickelback.
2 Irvins from Rippon. Benny Thompson tackled him from behind. 7-yard gain, 1:50 left to play. Less than that now.
The Chiefs have done a good job, too, of game planning. And they said in their bye week they took all the stuff out that didn't work and threw it out. And just kind of had quality control and just kept in the stuff on offense and defense that they were doing well at. And,
excuse me.
You know, sometimes you have to do that during the season.
Marty Schottenheimer had a briefcase that was jam-packed full of that kind of information yesterday. Here's Rippon to Gary Clark down about the Chief 20. Ross made the stop.
You're right. He had a big, it wasn't even a briefcase. It was a big old suitcase. Marty Schottenheimer, an ex-linebacker. I remember when he was with the Buffalo Bills, but you had to be an ex-linebacker to carry those stats.
Less than a minute left to play. Irvin's Maybe got a yard. Timeout, Washington.
Hey, it's been a long day for Mark Rypien. You know, once you hand off the ball, you usually fake and go the other way. Somewhere Mark Rypien is a little frustrated, and he got the idea that he wanted to block Derek Thomas.
That's a bad idea.
I think that was a bad idea at this point in the game, probably at any point in the game. You know, or maybe he didn't mean to. Maybe he was carrying out Vegas. He looked, and the first thing he goes, holy moly, there's a guy. The guy was wearing number 58.
Atlanta beat Phoenix 20-17. Right at the end. Green Bay beat Philadelphia with no time left on the clock.
And this has to be a big win for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're a game behind Denver, but you know, if they keep playing this well, they're not only a playoff team, but they can go someplace in the playoffs. I mean, they have a dominating defense. They have a couple of bookends that can put pressure on the quarterback. They have a running game. They have a streak quarterback. And David Craig, and like we said, when he's hot like he was in the first half, he can beat anyone.
He's had one of those hot days. One of those very, very good days. Well, Houston over Minnesota now.
All the teams are losing.
Yeah. Rypien, but Sander incomplete. Mincy. And Gary Clark saying, hey, he's on the other side of the field.
He's over there with, he's saying that Dale Carter grabbed him and knocked him down as he went by.
He did.
Yeah, Gary Clark is saying, what the heck, they can't do that to me.
This is not a play.
Timeout. Kansas City.
Timeout.
Number 1.
Kansas City.
That official that Gary Clark was complaining to that didn't listen to it was Al Jury. Yeah, he's back there, and Al Jury is a highway patrolman in California.
Let's go back and reminisce a little, John. After the season of '69, and you were coaching the Raiders.
I took everything so well.
A lot of anguish. LaMonica. Would you say Hank was gracious?
He won.
There's Rypien back across the field to Irvin. Steps out of one tackle. Now he's got a bunch of blockers in front of him. Somebody tore those blockers at play. That's Dale Carter. Underneath all the blockers and made the stop.
Well, you know, again, he was their #1 draft choice, and Marty Schottenheimer said one thing about him: this guy has no fear. And I think that's the thing that a cornerback has to have. He has to have two things. He has to have no fear and no memory. Because if he remembers anything, he's always going to be worried about what happened to him before. He has to forget what happened, and he has to go out there and just play.
Rypien, this will be the last play. Rypien the Monk at the 5. And it's over. So for John Madden, this is Pat Summerall saying so long from Arrowhead Stadium, where the final score was Kansas City 35, Washington 16. Coming up next, it's game 2 of our doubleheader. Most of you will see the Rams take on the Dallas Cowboys. Others will see either New Orleans against San Francisco or Chicago against Tampa Bay. You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Stadium between the 6-3 Skins against the 5-4 Chiefs. Two teams, certainly the Redskins defending champs, and the Chiefs like to think they could get to the Super Bowl this year. Two teams with championship aspirations. But if they want to get to the big game, these teams have got to get their offenses moving. Could either team get them moving today? Artie Schottenheimer's team already up 7-0. First play of the second quarter, Dave Craig play fake to Tim Barnett. Where's the defense? 44 yards, 14-0 KC, early second.
Chris, the defense is reading the run. Brad Edwards circle right there, takes 5 steps forward before he finally realizes it's a pass. And by that time, it's too late to get back to Barnett.
The big guys for the Chiefs, Tommy, weren't great, but the Nigerian Nightmare. 3 yards, 21-0. Kansas City against the champs. While David Craig looks to Tim Barnett. It worked once. Nice over-the-shoulder catch for 38 yards. Craig to J.J. Burton for 15. Craig, think he's got time? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. He's got plenty of time. And he hits Barnett. Then Craig to the right to J.J. Burton for 9. Everyone thinking play fake, even the cameraman. Harvey Williams. No, the ball's in the end zone. Touchdown. Williams been plagued by injuries all year. He had a big game today.
Yeah, and you just enjoy the dominance here of the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line inside the 10.
And the Redskins hanging on for dear life, down 28-0 at the half. Joe Gibbs says, wait a minute, what's going on? Well, my offense hasn't been clicking, that's for sure. Right, Mark Rippon, picked up by Charles Mincy. Dan Saliamua, hello to Ernest Biner. Again, Biner, meet Neil Smith. And penalties killed the Skins. Ray Brown jumps offside. And almost the entire line is offside here on defense.
Yeah, and one thing I used to always say defensively, if you're going to jump offside, you might as well give a good lick.
Well, I'll tell you what. The Skins had 70 yards in penalty in the first half. Only 51 yards on offense. Not good. So in the second half, wow, let's turn the page. Let's look at something else. This looks good. How about the fake punt down 28-0? Brian Mitchell. You know he can run it. 35 yards, and the Skins are in business. Ripping. No question, he is tough. Watch this 8-yard game before he is sent airborne by Chris Martin. After penalty to the Chiefs. I say the senator. Ricky Irvins, 5 yards at the touchdown. Then at 3 Low Miller field goals, all of a sudden it's a 28-16 game. The Skins creeping back in. The Chiefs have to punt. But special teams, Schottenheimer, his brother, they always stress him. And look what happened. The rookie Dale Carter doesn't get any better than that, folks. Downing it on the 1 line. So after the Redskins are forced to punt from deep in their own territory, again it's David Craig. 4th quarter. Steps up. Boy, when Craig is on, he is really on to Tim Barnett. Craig threw for 302 yards today. Barnett, 6 for $148. Harvey Williams, 88 yards rushing. New look for the Chiefs offense. Boy, they shook, rattled, and rolled the Skins 35-16. As again, the Redskins having trouble mustering up any sort of touchdown. On play is.
Back to pass, Craig. He's going to arch a spiral down the middle. He's got Barnett over the shoulder catch. Touchdown, Kansas City. Oh, baby, what a play. Gets it over to Sherman. 25-30, 35-40, 45 midfield, 45-40. Sherman at the 30, at the 25-20, at the 15-10, 5. Pete Sherman, touchdown! What a play! Everett heaves the long ball for Flipper. He's up and at it as a catch. He is out of bounds at the 9-yard line, at the far sideline.
Rod Woodson comes flying in from the right flank, dove through the air like he dove at Warren Moon. Only this time he comes down on the ear of Kramer's shoulders, shakes the ball loose and throw it around to the near sideline. Yoy and double yoy. What another big play by Rod Woodson. It's manna from heaven.